There's a story about a young general in the Roman army who, before every major decision, would walk away from his officers and sit alone for several minutes without saying a word. No notes, no muttering to himself, just silence. His officers found it strange at first. Some thought it was a kind of arrogance, that he believed himself above consultation. But over time, they noticed something. Every time he returned from that silence, his orders were sharper, cleaner, almost never reversed. Years later, when someone finally asked him what he did in those quiet minutes, he gave an answer that didn't sound like military strategy at all. He said, "I'm not deciding what to tell you. I'm deciding what I actually think before anyone else's voice gets in the way." That's it. That was the entire secret. Not a tactic, not a formula, just a man refusing to speak until he had something true to say, to himself first. Hold on to that image for a moment, because almost everything we're about to talk about lives inside it. Here's a truth that's uncomfortable to sit with. Every word you speak before you're ready leaks energy out of you. Every explanation you offer to someone who never needed to hear it drains something you'll want back later. Every time you check what others think before you've checked what you think, you quietly hand over a piece of your own authority. If you felt scattered lately, busy but somehow not moving, this might be why. You're not directing your life, you're responding to it. Reacting to a notification, a comment, an opinion, a piece of news, one after another, all day, every day. And somewhere beneath the noise, you already sense it. You feel the drift. You know that despite all your effort, you're not moving with the clarity you once imagined for yourself. The Stoics had a name for this condition. They called it living outside yourself, letting external events, other people's judgments, and the general noise of the world dictate your internal state. It's the precise opposite of freedom. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman world, wrote privately in a journal he never intended anyone else to read that we hold power over our own minds, not over outside events, and that realizing this is where strength actually begins. He wasn't writing that because he had already mastered it. He was reminding himself because even an emperor falls back into reacting, into seeking approval, into forgetting where real power lives. Most people never escape this pattern at all. They live their entire lives in reactive mode, letting the world set the agenda, speaking far more than they think, chasing approval from people who will have forgotten them by next week, pursuing goals that were never theirs to begin with. And the part that stings most is that they were capable of so much more. The intelligence was there, the time was there. They simply never gathered it, never pointed it anywhere, never asked the only question that actually matters. What do I want? What do I control? What can I do right now? If something in you is tired of that pattern, tired of the noise, tired of performing, tired of spending energy on things that don't move you forward, then you're exactly the right person for what comes next. Here's the part that might surprise you. The habit capable of changing the entire shape of your life isn't loud. It doesn't ask you to announce anything, post anything, or convince anyone to join you. It's the opposite. It's quiet. It's internal. It's invisible to everyone but you. It begins the moment you decide to do two things at once. Focus entirely on yourself and stay silent about almost everything else. Let's unpack both halves because they're simpler than they sound, though not necessarily easier. Focusing on yourself means redirecting your attention to the only things actually inside your control: your thoughts, your actions, your effort, your responses. Not the outcome, not what others think of you, not the algorithm, the competition, or the critics. Just the part of the equation that has always belonged to you. Staying silent means resisting the pull to speak before you're ready, to announce intentions, to seek validation, to react the instant something happens. It means holding your energy inward until the moment actually calls for words, until the work itself has something to say. This isn't about becoming withdrawn or refusing to collaborate. It's about being strategic with your words and disciplined with your attention. The Stoics practiced this with real consistency. Epictetus, who once lived as a slave, taught that it is never what happens to you, but how you respond to it, that actually matters. He didn't preach this as theory, he lived inside it. He never complained publicly about his circumstances. He never broadcast his suffering. He simply focused on the one thing within his reach, his own mind, and stayed quiet about everything else. Seneca, who advised emperors, wrote that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. In other words, when something provokes you, when someone insults you, when chaos erupts around you, pause. Say nothing yet. Let the moment pass through you rather than react from inside it. That pause, that brief silence, is where your power actually lives. And Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire during war and plague, kept returning to the same private instruction. Stay inside the present moment. Stop replaying what's already happened. Stop rehearsing what hasn't happened yet. Stop imagining what other people are silently thinking of you. Focus only on the one thing you can actually do right now. This practice is harder now than it's probably ever been because nearly everything around us pulls in the opposite direction. The platforms we use are built to reward constant speech, every thought announced, every moment performed for an audience. Busyness is treated as a virtue. Being instantly available is treated as a requirement. But here's what almost nobody says out loud. Every time you react immediately, you weaken your ability to respond thoughtfully later. Every time you speak before the work is ready, you dilute the very intention you were trying to protect. Every time you reach for outside approval before you've reached any clarity of your own, you quietly train yourself to depend on other people for your sense of worth. The habit of focusing inward and staying silent is the direct antidote to all of that. In practice, it looks something like this. You wake up, and instead of reaching for your phone, you sit for 5 quiet minutes. No input, no output, just your own thoughts. You ask yourself what actually matters today, what's inside your control, and what single thing you can move forward. At work, someone criticizes an idea you've put forward. You don't defend it instantly. You pause. You weigh whether the criticism has real merit. If it does, you absorb it. If it doesn't, you let it pass without spending your energy proving a point to someone who is never going to be convinced anyway. When you feel the urge to announce a new goal, a new project, a new habit, to anyone who listens, you resist. You let the work itself speak, later, once there's something to show. You already understand, somewhere instinctive, that announcing something too early scatters the very energy you'll need to actually finish it. And when chaos shows up uninvited, bad news, conflict, drama that isn't yours to carry, you don't react on contact. You observe. You breathe. You ask what part of this is actually within your control, and you put your attention only there. This isn't passivity. It's a quieter, more durable form of power. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, left behind a simple observation that wasn't poetic at all. It was almost mathematical. We have 2 ears in 1 mouth, he said, so we should listen twice as much as we speak. It's a ratio worth holding on to. Observe twice as much as you react. Absorb twice as much as you broadcast. Why does this matter so much? Because silence creates space, and inside that space is where clarity actually forms. When you're constantly talking, you're not thinking. When you're constantly reacting, you're not observing. When you're constantly chasing validation, you're not building anything that will outlast the applause. But when you commit to focusing inward and staying quiet, something genuinely changes. You start noticing patterns that were invisible to you before. You begin hearing the signal underneath the noise. You start telling the difference between what actually matters and what simply demands your attention loudly. You become aware of your own habits, your own blind spots, your own reflexive reactions. And from that awareness, you can finally act with precision instead of impulse. You stop spending time on things that don't move anything forward. You stop engaging with people who only drain you. You stop defending positions that never needed defending in the first place. You stop announcing plans before they're ready to exist in the world. You simplify, you focus, you build. Here's the paradox at the center of all of this. The less you speak, the more weight your words carry when you finally do. The less you react, the more deliberate your actions become. The less you chase approval, the more genuine your confidence grows. The world, in its own quiet way, respects restraint. It respects people who don't feel a constant need to explain themselves, who don't need to perform their progress in public, who don't require ongoing affirmation to keep moving. But more importantly than how the world responds, you begin to respect yourself, because you know you're living by your own standard now, not by the direction the crowd happens to be drifting. You're moving towards something you actually chose. This is the essence of Stoic discipline, properly understood. It was never about deprivation. It was always about direction, about saying no to the trivial so that you finally have enough left over to say yes to what's essential. Think back for a moment to that young general sitting alone in silence before every decision that mattered. He wasn't withholding his thoughts out of arrogance. He was protecting them, giving them a chance to form fully before the noise of everyone else's opinions had a chance to bend them out of shape. That's the quiet discipline underneath everything we've walked through today. Focus only on what belongs to you. Say less than you're tempted to. Let your work, not your announcements, carry the proof of who you're becoming. If this is a discipline you're ready to start building, quietly, without announcing it to anyone, simply begin tomorrow morning. 5 minutes of silence before the world gets a chance to speak first. If you'd like to keep exploring these ideas, consider staying with this channel. There's more of this conversation ahead. Thank you for spending this time in something quieter than most of what competes for your attention. That, itself, is the practice beginning.